See so many wonderful Catholic men coming together. I have to be honest with you. When I came down here 7 years ago, I received a call from the Lord that said, come to Southern California. My wife's mother had turned 90, and he said, come down and care for her. And I was in Portland at the time. As a matter of fact, Father Mike Rizzo was a deacon at the time at the church that I was at. And I said to my wife, Vic, it's kind of like when they asked about Nazareth. I said, are there any Catholics in Southern California? I said, think about it. Pope Paul VI in 1968 said that you can't use contraception, and there's a bunch of people going to USC and they all become Trojans. Then there's houses that they can't afford to live in, so they're moving into condominiums. But I was pleasantly surprised. I think I have experienced and met some of the holiest people anywhere that I've been. And I've been in a lot of places: Atlanta, Georgia, Portland, upstate New York, where I was raised. Got my master's in Dallas. But there's something special here. So, I have a phrase I hope you take with you. It's a quote from St. Augustine. And live this phrase, because for me it's everything. He said, to fall in love with the compassionate companion is the greatest romance. The greatest romance. To seek him, the greatest adventure. And to find him, the greatest achievement. So, what does all that mean? We like to say we love God, but here's the challenge that we have in life. Like our two speakers, they spoke about their wounds and the difficulties that they had to experience, and that God was not in their life. What happens to all of us from the time we're born as very vulnerable little children. And we are easily hurt, easily impacted by our parents, our siblings, our families. And we've all been wounded to different degrees. But what happens when we're wounded? What we've done, it's just the standard human condition, is that we begin to protect that little child that dwells within us. You notice that Jesus, you might say, well, that little child's not there anymore. But St. Paul said, I used to act like a child and be like a child. I'm not a child anymore. But Jesus at the Last Supper, his most intimate moment with his apostles, said, little children. The first words he used to adult men before he began that most intimate conversation he had with them. That little child has never left you, because that is a component and a part and the energy of your soul and mine. So, what happened? We got wounded. And we start putting on masks, some protective barriers, walls. I'm not going to get hurt. And our ego starts to work. And our ego says, I'm going to be famous. I'm going to cut myself off from other people. I'm not going to talk to them. I'm going to be rich. So how do we relate to God? Well, it could be like the guy that ran out of church, and he came, and there was a Franciscan priest talking to a Jesuit priest, and he went up to him and said, Fathers, what kind of novena do I need to pray in order to get a Mercedes-Benz? And the Franciscan looked at him and said, what's a Mercedes? Well, the Jesuit looked at him and said, what's a novena? But think about this. How is our relationship with God? How is our relationship with Jesus Christ? In chapter 15, Jesus said, you're no longer slaves, but you're my friends. Is Christ my friend? Or am I like the guy running out of church who wants a Mercedes-Benz? Is Jesus in my tool chest for what I need? Or is Jesus my true intimate lover in my soul? St. Basil said this, the love of God is not something that can be taught. I will try to fan into flame the spark of divine love that is, now listen to these words, hidden within you, as far as I am able through the power of the Holy Spirit. The love of God is hidden in each one of us. Teresa of Avila said in her interior castle, there are 7 mansions. The 7th mansion is the deepest part of each and every one of you and me. She said that's a special place reserved for God. Do you know, have you met the indwelling Christ? He's in each and every one of us. But we have to find him. You see, he's hidden. Augustine said, the intimate lover of our souls is closer to us than we are to ourselves. He's there and we don't even see him. We don't recognize him. St. Ignatius of Antioch said this, even our secrets, and I'll come back to this in a bit, even our secrets are close to him. Let us then do everything in the knowledge that he is dwelling in us, that we may be his temples and he God within us. And he is and will reveal himself, he is, and will reveal himself in our sight. Well, I don't see this intimate lover in me. I believe that God is love, and yes, I feel peace sometimes, but it's always coming from the outside. Gentlemen, I want you all, many of you probably know this, but I want to point something out to you. What was your relationship with your father? Whatever that relationship was or is exactly where we start when we work in the spiritual life. If my dad was a judge, God is a judge. If my dad was distant, God is distant. But everything is always external. God is out there, and I have a certain perception of him as separate from me. If that is your perspective now, ask Christ to draw you into intimacy. Help him to open your heart to find this, what I don't call him God, I call him a compassionate companion. That is who he is. When you discover the intimacy of Christ, you will discover a person who will accept you for everything. What will you experience? I'll share what St. Faustina said. Jesus, friend of a lonely heart. She was acknowledging her own loneliness. You are my haven. You are my peace. You are my serenity in moments of struggle and amidst an ocean of doubts, you are the bright ray that lights up the path of my life. You are everything to a lonely soul. You understand the soul even though it remains silent. You know our weaknesses, and we heard a lot about that from the former speaker. He knew them long before John ever faced them. And like a good physician, you comfort and heal, sparing us sufferings, expert that you are. This is how Christ treats us in our soul. This is where, and both men said, go before the Blessed Sacrament. There is Christ. Yes, he's out there, but guess what? He wants to reveal to me, and he has, through my life, especially in the last 10 years, that he lives and breathes in me, and that he accepts me for who I am. But I'll tell you how I got there, and I got to finish up quickly. In 2 days or 3 days, let's see, on the 2nd of February, we are going to celebrate the presentation. And at the presentation, Simeon said to Mary, a sword will pierce your heart so that the secret thoughts of many may be revealed. Secret thoughts, what? You see, most of us hear, oh, Mary's heart was pierced. We pray to the Immaculate Heart, the sorrowful heart of Mary, and we forget the last phrase, but the last phrase is what leads to intimacy. Our secret thoughts are revealed through a mother, a tender, loving mother, who allows us to confront our garbage, our unconscious garbage that we hid when we were wounded as children, not wanting to face those weaknesses. And what does Our Lady do? Just like psychologists call a great mother who provides great children secure attachment or maternal attachment. Why do I pray to Mary, and why is she for me a co-redemptrix and a mediatrix and an advocate? Because she has come to me as a mother in the most powerful way, or what psychologists tell us will make us healthy people. And it's this: Our Lady's attentive to your heart. Open it in your woundedness. She's there. She provides acceptance. What mother doesn't, if it's a true mother, doesn't accept their children no matter how wounded they are? Appreciation, affection. Those are just a few. I talk at length in my book about it, and I also talk at length how we mask ourselves from confronting the heart that needs to be pierced for each one of us. And many of you men are doing it. I love the fact that you call yourself, fellowship, and that you are breaking open your heart to other men, because you know how we can discover the compassion of Christ? It's through the compassion we can give to others when we open our hearts, right? So when we open our hearts, we could be like the same prayer that St. Faustina stated. And let me read it again and think, is this how I relate to my brothers? Friend of a lonely heart, you are my haven. You are my peace. You are my serenity in moments of struggle and amidst the ocean of doubts. You are the bright ray that lights up the path of my life. You are everything to a lonely soul. You understand the soul even though it remains silent. You know our weaknesses, and like a good physician, you comfort and heal, sparing us sufferings, expert that you are. Are we experts? And being compassionate companions to our brothers. What does fellowship mean? It's like the word love. It can be, lots of things. And in my book, I break down the difference of friendship in 3, or you could call it fellowship. Are we drinking buddies? Do we go to games together? That's acquaintance. That's a level 1 friendship. A level 2 friendship, which I've heard a lot of, we begin to open our hearts. St. Anselm of Rivolo has a book on several books on spiritual friendship. And what does he say? He talked about being with a monk. And he said that in a short phrase, he defined all 3 friendships. So this discussion with the monk was, they're acquaintances, right? They're in the monastery together. He said this: I began to reveal to him the secrets of my innermost thoughts, and I found him faithful. Do I do that with Christ? Am I willing to sit before Christ and be real? And say, Jesus, I got these insecurities. I'm drinking. I'm doing this sin, that sin, but also I'm really scared to confront who I am to you. That's where it begins. Ask Our Lady to strengthen you, to open your hearts so that He can lead you to Christ. He said, in this way, love increased between us, affection glowed warmer, and charity was strengthened. There we experienced the second level of friendship. But brothers, don't stop there. He explains that at that point, we had but one mind and one soul. Jesus called us to friendship, and He said, you are my friends because I let you know everything I learned from the Father. Not a little bit, but everything. Jesus wants us to be transparent to Him and reveal everything to Him so He can compassionate us. And in that compassion, I can be compassionate to my brothers and sisters. So brothers, remember, seek to fall in love with your compassionate companion because it is the greatest romance. And if you seek Him in prayer, and if you strip yourself naked before Him, that'll be your greatest adventure. It brings joy because the response is love. And finally, to find Him. And when you find Him and you find this compassionate lover of your soul dwelling deep in you, who loves you, that will be your greatest achievement. God bless you all.